If you find you're constantly struggling with consistency when it comes to hitting the gym, getting your steps in, and just generally looking after yourself, and the main issue feels like it's a constant lack of time, then this video is definitely for you. I'm Ryan Lewin. I'm an online body and health transformation coach. I spent 4 years at university studying exercise and nutrition all the way up to master's level. And since finishing university, I've now accumulated a whole decade of experience of working with people full time in the fitness industry. I know what you're thinking. It's hard to believe I'm that old. I've decided to start a YouTube channel so that I can share my wisdom, knowledge, and experience with the world and hopefully help. So if you drop us a subscribe, you can expect content coming at you from all things relating to getting yourself in shape, improving your health, and improving your quality of life. Go on, hit subscribe, and you can stay in touch with everything that I put out this year. But if you're anything like the clients I work with, you likely feel like you've just got no time to do anything that you want to do. Probably feel like you've got a million things competing for your time and energy all the time. You've got your job, your career, you've got your family, kids, partner, maybe some pets that need looking after. You've got your social commitments, housework, staying on top of your health and fitness, and just trying to find the time to take 2 minutes to yourself every now and then. And despite your best intentions every week, you seem to be getting to the end of every week frustrated because you've not managed to stick to your exercise and movement goals for the week. And in many cases, this is often due to maybe poor planning going into the week, so you've not allocated time to do your exercise, or poor boundaries and letting things take over the time that you have allocated to the exercise too easily. And just giving in to the easier, more attractive option like sitting on the sofa to watch Netflix, going out for dinner with a friend, or saying yes to more work because it's going to give you more money. So now I'm just going to run you through a practical exercise that you can use when it comes to time management. I've used with my client that has massively improved their consistency when it comes to training and getting their steps in. Okay, step one, really simple. What I want you to do is get a pen and paper out and write down your why. This is the deep, really sort of like emotional reason that you actually want to do the exercise in the first place. Why is it that you want to make exercise part of your week? Is it because you're not currently happy with how you look and you want to lose some weight and you know that exercise is going to support that goal? Is it because you're starting to get a little bit more concerned about your longevity and your retirement because you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s and you're currently sedentary and you're not doing any physical activity? Is it because you've seen and heard about all the benefits that exercise can have on your mental health, your productivity, your sleep quality, anxiety, low mood? Get crystal clear on the reasons that you want to commit to your exercise program. The next thing I want you to do is have 2 columns labeled consistent and not consistent. And what I want you to do is just bullet point all of the implications that being consistent with exercise will have on your life and not being consistent. You know, in that consistent section, we should be looking at things like improved productivity, improved mood, improved relationships, improved confidence when you're naked. And in the non-consistent section, we should be looking at things like poorer health later in life, more risk of disease, more risk of being out of shape. And now we move to the time management section of this. So what I want you to do is use a digital calendar like Google, for example, and plan out your week. And if you're not currently planning out your week anyway, this step alone is already probably going to give you a massive boost when it comes to your consistency because you're actually going to be making time to do it. And now what I want you to do, just block off some time in your diary each week to go to the gym or go for your walks. But rather than just booking them in as gym sessions or walks, I actually want you to put a label in your diary with some of those reasons that you've just wrote down. So for example, you could book in a gym session on a Monday and the label next to it is more confidence naked, better longevity. Or if you're the sort of person that responds better to avoiding pain and discomfort, you could put a label there that says something like Monday night gym session, reduce risk of disease at retirement, or something a little bit more short term like not feeling uncomfortable on the beach this year with my shirt off, better energy to play with the kids. You've just got to find those reasons that seem to be the most powerful motives for you to want to exercise and then label it in your calendar. And just a bit of a bonus tip when it comes to planning, I'm a big fan of front loading at the start of the week. So, you know, trying to get more steps done at the start of the week, making sure you've got a gym session in the first couple of days of the week. Because that way, if stuff does come up later in the week, like work emergencies or social events or whatever that may be, you've ticked the box. You know you've done some really productive kind of exercise at the start of the week. So block off the time, label that time with why it's important to you, and try and front load more on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And that way you're off to a much better start when it comes to your consistency by the end of the week. And now it's time to actually go into that week that you've planned out. Now, when it gets to 7 o'clock on a Monday and you know you're meant to be going to the gym, if there is a reason coming up in your brain as to why you don't want to go and do that gym session, or a friend has asked you if you want to go for dinner after work, or an extra consultation has come in for your business that you'd like to take and earn a little bit more money. You're then faced with a decision, because you look at your calendar, and what you need to do next is, if you can drag and drop that session to somewhere else in the week safely, then you can be flexible. However, if you look at your calendar and you've got nowhere else that you could realistically put that training session, the only option would be that you delete it from your calendar and replace it with something else. Then you're faced with a big decision, because you've got to ask yourself if the reason that you're about to delete that training session from your calendar is actually a valid reason. And the reason that I'm asking you to label your booking with a reminder of why it's important to you is because you're going to be confronted with it. And hopefully that will just provoke a little bit of thought where, you're reminded that you're going to feel a little bit rubbish at the end of the week if you've not got this done, because it's important to you because of all these reasons that you've wrote down. If you know that training session is linked to a goal of being more confident naked, or living longer, or having better mental health, or more energy to play with the kids, it just gives you a moment to reflect and ask, is that dinner invite or is that extra little bit of money really worth the trade-off and sacrificing those things? And what hopefully you'll start to do is you'll start to realize that there's not actually that many valid reasons that tend to pop up that pull you away from exercise. Like a family emergency or an absolute crisis at work, or you're sick, or, stuff like that. They're legitimate reasons to occasionally skip a gym session. If it's to satisfy your taste buds or just put your feet up on the sofa for an extra hour because you're a bit tired, you start to realize that these aren't really valid when you know how much value is connected to those exercise sessions. And what I'd also advise you to do in this situation is see if you can combine the two. So if a friend drops you a text and says, hey, do you want to go for a dinner and a glass of wine on Thursday? You've got a long walk booked into your calendar and you can't put that walk anywhere else. You can say to them, I'm currently trying to focus on my health at the minute, and the only time I've really got to go for my nice walk on Thursday is actually the time that you've asked me, if we want to go for dinner. Would love to catch up. Could we go for a coffee? Or probably not a coffee because it'll be 7:00 at night. But, could we go for a soft drink and a walk around the park instead? That way, you get to be a positive influence on someone that's close to you. You still get social connection and get to catch up with a friend. And you get to stick to your exercise goals. This whole exercise about getting clear on your values, getting clear on why this is going to benefit you and why it's important to you, and then actually blocking off the time and having that decision tree is just about being crystal clear on your current goals and values and what it is that you want from life, and then being more selective and prioritizing better, and ultimately making progress towards the things that are important to you. So if you do find that you're always struggling to stay consistent because of time, honestly, give it a try. I've done it with myself, and I've done it with some of my busiest clients, and it has definitely resulted in them being more consistent with their training and more consistent with their steps and just prioritizing themselves better. Not to try and see it as you're putting your own oxygen mask on before you help others. It might feel selfish saying no to a friend because you're going to go to the gym. It might feel a little bit counterproductive saying no to a last-minute consultation request because you're going to go to the gym. But in the long run, you're going to be showing up as a better version of yourself for your friends, your family, your clients, whatever that may be. And most importantly, for yourself. So stay firm with it, because it will pay off with a huge return on investment throughout the rest of your life. If you do give it a try and you find it useful, and this video gets you thinking a little bit about how you're currently managing your time and how you're currently prioritizing your own health and fitness, I'd love to know. So drop us a comment, or you can reach out to me directly on Instagram @InShapeWithRyan, or email ryan@InShapeNutrition.co.uk, and I'd love to hear from you. And as I say, if you find this sort of content useful and you'd like to learn more from me about my 10 years of experience and all the study that I've done on physiology, nutrition, and mindset, then make sure you do hit subscribe, because I'll be putting out content like this all year and probably for years to come. And I'd love every video that I put out to land in front of you and hopefully help you with getting healthier, in better shape, and just all round happier. Go on, drop us a subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.